Well, hello everybody and welcome to a very special holiday edition of Unearthed. My name is Jess Raitt and I am the Product Education Manager here at doTERRA Australia and New Zealand, and I have my friend over here, Mr. Will Halterman. Hello.
Hey Jess, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
What an amazing opportunity we have to be in the kitchen today. We get an opportunity to share some inspiration, some joy and some education around one of our personal favourite essential oils. I know we've spoken about it behind the scenes a fair few times, and frankincense and myrrh are two of our very favourite essential oils. But before we delve into the product education, and I know you're really keen to learn all about these particular oils and then see what we've made with these oils as well, Will, I want to ask you what you have planned for the holiday season.
Oh, thank you for that, Jess. You know, I'm really looking forward to this Christmas and this holiday season because finally, for the first time in 3 years, I get to have my family join me for Christmas. You know, we had just moved to Australia last year before Christmas, and really our family didn't have a chance to come in. We were just coming out of lockdowns here in Melbourne, as you recall.
Oh yeah.
And for the 2 years prior to that, we were in Singapore, and again, Singapore going through those lockdowns there. So this is the first time in 3 years where I'll actually get to have my family come in. My children will start arriving about the middle of December, and I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
That sounds wonderful. I'm also very excited because this is the first time in around about 3.5 years that I get to see my sister again. She moved to Switzerland with her partner, and she's just recently had a little baby boy, Teddy. So we are all getting together, my 3 sisters and I, and our extended family, the kids, the grandkids, Granny and Pop, hanging around the Christmas tree and the beautiful table on Christmas Day. We're really excited to get together.
That's so exciting. Isn't that what holidays are all about, is family?
Absolutely. And that connectivity, you know, when you think back, when do we get these opportunities to all sit around together and talk and share food and stories? Life is so busy and we really run out of those opportunities. So I think we're all looking forward to celebrating the holiday.
Just that opportunity to be able to connect with others.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's really what makes the holidays so special.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of special, frankincense is one of those very special oils. In fact, it is the king of oils, and for good reason. Will, I want to know all about frankincense today. Can you please share your wisdom?
You know, frankincense is actually an amazing oil. It's one of my all-time favorites. I use it for almost everything. It's an absolutely stunning essential oil. It actually has been used by mankind for thousands of years.
Wow.
It has a huge history to it. It dates back to 27th century BC, when the ancient Egyptians would actually use essential oil as medicine for them. The ancient counselor to the pharaoh, Imhotep, he wrote about frankincense and spelled out how important it was to help with headache, to help with pain in the body, inflammation, and so on. And it's just astounding what kind of history that the product actually has. It's been used in ancient Persian medicine as well. It's been used in ancient Chinese medicine. Also, it was used in Jewish ritual or temple rituals and such. So it's a very, very important part of so many different cultures out there. And that's really what makes it special, is that it has such an amazing history to it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy to think that it's been around for so many thousands of years, and then you might find someone on the street or even a family member who will say, what does frankincense do?
Yeah.
How does that work? And that's an amazing opportunity, I think, for us to be able to share that wisdom a little bit further.
Oh, it really is. It really is. And there's so many benefits to frankincense as well. We'll talk about those here in just a second. But one thing I wanted to share too with myrrh oil, you know, there's actually a commonality between these two oils. Not only do they come from roughly the same part of the world, but they actually share another commonality too. And that is that both of them, both the trees grow in very adverse conditions. Okay, they grow in very arid environments, so there's very little moisture, very little rain. They grow in very rocky, very sandy soils, dirt without very much nutritive value to it. And really, many people would think, how can a plant grow in soil that doesn't have a lot of nutritive value to it, or in an environment that's very arid, where there's not a lot of moisture? Yet, frankincense and myrrh both tend to thrive in those environments. And that's really one thing it's very interesting, because that adversity that both of these plants face actually makes for more powerful essential oils. Because what happens is that adversity causes the plant to create chemicals and constituents, properties to them that allow the plant to favor survival. Well, those new properties, those new chemicals become built into those essential oils, allowing those essential oils to become more powerful. And if used together, they work synergistically to become yet more powerful beyond that.
Isn't that incredible? And I know we spoke about that a couple of months ago at our Cellubel training, and one of the DIYs that we created was all around that synergy. And Cellubel is perfect for that, right? Because
it really
frankincense, we've got myrrh, and then, like you mentioned, you like using it on your skin. The benefits are exceptional.
They really are. They really are. In fact, let's talk a little bit about some of those benefits. In fact, there is a lot of studies out there showing how frankincense is actually beneficial for addressing skin inflammation. So if you have any inflammation on your skin, inflammation, puffiness in your face and so on, frankincense actually does a really great job of addressing that inflammation, targeting it and removing it from you, okay? So that you actually have a better chance of going past the inflammation, going into a point of homeostasis, where our bodies are more in balance.
Isn't that beautiful? And my brain is just thinking, gosh, as a tired mother, I do feel a bit puffy from time to time. And in the face, and with lack of sleep as well, you find that your body can feel a little bit out of whack. And I really love using frankincense at nighttime, because I find when you're in that restorative state, your skin responds a little bit better to the magic within that bottle.
It's funny you actually mentioned magic too. There are some studies out there that talk about these properties as being almost magical, how beneficial and how powerful they are.
Sure, I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe in magic.
Well, some of the other benefits to frankincense have to do with stress and anxiety. Every single day we face stress and anxiety, and frankly, around the holiday season, sometimes things can get a little stressful as we try to make so many wonderful snacks, right? And decorate our homes, and there's just so many things that we have going on that some people tend to feel a little stressed out during the holiday season. And frankincense actually does a wonderful job of addressing stress, of addressing anxiety, helping us to ground ourselves, become more calm, more grounded, and just feeling better about ourselves and our situation at the time. Okay. Yeah,
absolutely. I put frankincense in the diffuser behind us today, because I thought, this is new for us. This is exciting that we get to do a recording in the kitchen for our product training. We don't have that safety net of being behind the computer. And so I thought, let's put some Frankie in the diffuser. And it smells good, but I can feel the energies just lowered a little bit. My energy especially has just gone down a little bit, and I feel a little bit calmer. And the beauty of and the simplicity of it is that you can simply put it in the palm of your hands, right? And take a couple of deep breaths, and then what I like to do is put it in the ends of my hair.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way of using frankincense. It's a very simple way. You can carry it with you, put a couple drops into the palm of your hand, as you were saying, rub that, cup it over your nose. It's a beautiful way to just become more grounded in those stressful situations.
Absolutely.
As you point out, like right now, for example, having it in the diffuser, this is perfect.
It's helping things along a bit. So what are some other benefits of Frankie?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. So along with stress, and actually, did you know there are studies that will show the stress or the restorative effects of frankincense where stress and anxiety are concerned. They've done a number of in vivo tests, that's living tests, showing that frankincense essential oil can actually address those stressful situations, help us calm ourselves, help us to be more grounded. It actually addresses sleep deprivation as well, helps you sleep, helps you get the rest that you need. It addresses sleep debt. Okay, so lack of sleep that you're getting on a regular ongoing basis that you need to be able to catch up on. Okay.
Wow, I
And-
didn't know that, and I am definitely in debt
Yeah.
of sleep at the moment. So to anyone who has maybe a toddler or a young child who's preferring to sleep in mummy and daddy's bed rather than their own bed, we just put frankincense in the diffuser for both the kids' rooms and mum and dad's rooms. What are some other ways that we could possibly infuse Frankie into that nighttime routine, do you think?
Oh my goodness, you can actually put just a drop like on a pillowcase or
Yeah,
something
okay.
in a corner of a pillowcase. That alone will help with sleeping. If you put a little drop, maybe even on your feet, just rub that
Yeah.
into your feet. Put a little drop on a bed sheet, say in a corner, even down by your feet. Just the simple aroma, just simply smelling the aroma of frankincense will help with that process of calming down and preparing for a great night's sleep.
There's some great tips. I'm going to do that tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm always excited about it. It's really it's the one oil that you can use for almost anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because not only does it help you calm down, but it doesn't act like a sedative where it makes you sleepy or groggy or have any kind of a brain fog. You're still able to think, you're still able to move, you're still able to, rationalize through your day-to-day routine.
Yeah. Okay, so it's something good that you could possibly use, infuse into your morning routine as well. If you're feeling
Exactly.
like you're going to have a bit of a busy day, or you're preempting a few meetings, for example, or maybe you just haven't had that sleep the night before. You could possibly do it in the morning.
Absolutely. It's a perfect way of using frankincense, actually, is to really use it first thing in the morning. Just put even a drop on the soles of your feet as you get ready for work, as you put on the work attire and get ready to come into work. Just a drop or two of frankincense on your feet, and that will actually help you ground and be more calm, more attentive during the rest of the day, especially as you face those different difficult situations that we all face at work.
Yeah, it really is one of those toolkits. And I know you mentioned earlier that there was the physician back in the day that used to talk about frankincense, and yet we refer back to traditional medicinal remedies a lot of the time when we are going through troublesome times, and we forget the products that we actually have in our holistic toolkit that you could possibly use as well.
Yeah, one other thing you can use frankincense for too is basically to support good breathing. It actually does a wonderful job in terms of helping to remove congestion, helping support your lungs, helping support respiration so that you can breathe better just on a regular basis. And there's a lot of oils like eucalyptus and peppermint that will help with that as well. But frankincense is just an amazing oil for that also, which is why it's kind of like that Swiss Army knife of oils, where there's so many different uses and purposes for it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love frankincense. It really is the king of oils. And I heard recently that it helps to boost the efficacy of other oils.
It really does, actually. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, because with myrrh, it's actually been shown to be synergistic with myrrh in terms of helping the benefits of frankincense, the benefits of myrrh, both expand, all right, and become greater just by using them together. So actually using frankincense with myrrh help make both products better and stronger and more beneficial.
Oh, isn't that incredible?
It really is. It's actually stunning to watch. There was a study conducted a number of years ago showing that in ancient Chinese medicine, frankincense and myrrh would always be used together. And they would be used together because of that synergistic effect. So they would be synergistically improving inflammation. They would, or countering inflammation. They would be synergistically improving respiration, synergistically working on skin and beautifying, and there was just so many great benefits for it.
It's phenomenal. And I have to personally thank you, Will, for all of your work that you are doing with the Therapeutic Goods Administration, because us folk in Australia, and we've, I guess, we've been able to stretch our language. It's probably the best way that we can say it, in terms of how we can talk about these essential oils. And frankincense is one of those oils that we may have been slightly limited in what we could share in the past, and we've got some really remarkable, interesting ways to communicate the benefits of frankincense now.
That really is true, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But what we really want to do is help others know what they can say about products. And that's, everybody here in Australia, everybody in New Zealand, it's just so important for us to be able to share information about products. I tell my kids all the time, all the knowledge in the world isn't any good, doesn't do you any good unless you're sharing it with others.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and that's really what these, what these trainings, what these unearthed trainings have been all about, is sharing product information so that you can share them with others.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of sharing, I know that Will is possibly distracted right now because I have got some food that I've been cooking over the past couple of days to share with you all and to share with Will as well. So which one is standing out to you so far as the one that you're really wanting to know more about?
Oh my goodness. I would really, see, I'm even going to grab some of this chalky right here, some of this chocolate, and little bite.
I knew
wow.
he was going to go for that one. I have created a few different recipes today. In the spirit of the holiday season, I thought, let's look at ways that we can infuse frankincense in a edible way. And that's thanks to Will's work with the Therapeutic Goods Administration that we're able to actually be able to say that frankincense can be used for food flavouring, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So I have got chocolate bark here today. I've also made a carrot cake granola recipe.
Wow.
And that, I know, Will's also really excited about that one. And then I've made a healthy and really easy fruitcake. Now, don't turn your nose up. I know that fruitcake isn't everyone's favourites, and I can picture my husband right now thinking fruitcake is so not going on our Christmas table on December 25th. But this one is actually really, really yummy. So I'm excited to talk about that soon. But for now, I want to talk about my chocky bark. And I know that you are so excited to try this today.
I'm super excited about it.
And my kids were also very excited to help me make this the other night. And it's so easy. But what I love most about it, it looks festive. It tastes beautiful. And it's just a little bit of a variation on those classics that we pull out normally when people come to visit, even before Christmas or even after Christmas. So I want to give you guys these recipes that I have made today. Because we are doing this pre-record, we're not going to have those slides up for you. So what I will do is share all of these recipes on my Instagram page. So Jess Rate doTERRA AU, you can find me there and I'll pop those recipes up there. But how I did this, because I know you're keen to know this, so you can make it at home. You just need to melt down some milk chocolate and melt down some white chocolate. Have your 2 double boilers going on either side, and then you simply pour that chocolate down onto some lined tin tray really. And then it's quite simply a case of spreading it out into the shape that you'd like. You can go as thick or as thin as you like. I've tried to keep it around about 2 millimeters thick there. I think it could possibly even go a bit thinner, so it could be nice and light. So you don't want anything too overly heavy. That's my personal opinion anyway. Then what I did is added a couple of drops of each of these. So I did a couple of drops of frankincense and a couple of drops of myrrh in there, and I swirled it around.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's amazing too. I just sitting here nibbling at it.
Please go for it.
It's incredible.
It's yum. It is really, really yum. I mean, you can't go wrong with chocolate, right? And then I just swirled in some white chocolate over the top. It adds to a bit of that decoration. And then I went a little bit fancy. Now, I'm going to be honest here. This was a fluke. I didn't know what I was doing to begin with. And then I realised very quickly, and my mother would be really upset with me to hear that I've done this. But I went and put the chocolate directly into the pot to begin with to melt down. And I've learned that you can't do that. It's not going to have that beautiful, runny, smooth consistency. But what did happen is that it turned into a bit of a chocolate dirt almost. It became a little bit crumbly. So I added a little bit of cream to it, and I found that it just softened slightly, and it turned into what those beautiful chefs make, those recipes that almost looks like you've got a garden on a plate. So I sprinkled some chocolate dirt over the top of it, to put it frankly. And then I added some cranberries, some pistachios, which just adds that festive element, and then some nuts. We've got some pecans and some walnuts, and that's it. You pop it in the fridge, let it cool down, and then cut it into beautiful shapes, or you can crack it however you like and serve it as is. It's pretty fun and it tastes pretty good.
That is amazing actually too, and a beautiful creamy texture to it. It's just, I really like that. I can't stop eating it, okay?
Please,
so
go for
I'm
it.
just going to have to grab even more as we go here.
It's simple and it's easy. And when you're talking about anxiety and stress before and how we feel coming up into the festive season, it can be a lot, especially, and I don't want to point this out too specifically, but a lot of the time, sorry, Will, but a lot of the time the mamas tend to take on a lot
Yeah.
of that load, right? We have to get the house
So
tidy
true.
for visitors. We have to make sure that presents have been purchased. We have to make sure that we've got the matching plates and cups and saucers and knives and
Yeah.
forks, all those little details, and then making sure, of course, that we decorate the house accordingly. And then you've got the food component. So any opportunity to make my life a little bit simpler, I'm going to opt for that. And also I can get the kids involved, which is a bit of fun as well.
Well, and it seems like this chocolate too is very easy to make. Now, I'll have to admit, I'm not much of a chef at home, but this is something even I could do, it sounds like.
Perfect. Will's going to bring chocolate bark to the Christmas party.
No, I'll
this
have
year.
to.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to it. So we did put myrrh into this chocolate bark today, but I'm interested to know a little bit more about myrrh as the essential oil.
Oh, it's actually wonderful. I'm glad you did that too, because myrrh's an amazing oil. Like frankincense, there are so many uses for it. But one of the things I really wanted to point out with myrrh is that myrrh is what's called a singlet oxygen quencher. It contains properties to it that absorb and reduce singlet oxygen. Now, what singlet oxygen is, it's a type of radical oxygen molecule. In fact, it's a highly reactive, highly radical molecule. And it gets into your skin and interacts with the squalene, one of the properties of your skin, and causes peroxidation. Now, the peroxidation of the squalene within your skin is what causes brown spots or age spots that a lot of us see. So people who get a lot of sun, that creates singlet oxygen within our skin. That singlet oxygen, again, interacts with the squalene, peroxidizes the squalene, causes brown spots. People in very urban, very polluted urban environments tend to absorb a lot of that singlet oxygen as well. And that, again, gets into their skin, peroxidizes the squalene, causes age spots. And myrrh is an amazing essential oil for quenching that singlet oxygen, for reducing it, for helping to stabilize those radical oxygen molecules so that your skin appears more glowing and you can avoid some of those age spots that, hey, we all tend to face.
We all get, right? And I think that any person over the age of 30 is going to find that their skin becomes a little bit more reactional to the elements, and whether it is environmental stresses or pollutants, that free radical damage can wreak havoc. And I know personally I have a sunspot on the side of my face that I would rather it be gone, and so I am really excited to try myrrh essential oil directly on that. On that note, can it work on different types of pigmentation as well? So you talked about sunspots, which is classically your top levels of your epidermis where you get reactional to, say, UV light. But what about more of those deeper level pigmentation concerns, maybe hormonal pigmentation, for example, or melasma?
Right. Well, hormonal pigmentation is a little bit different, okay? It is caused by hormonal conditions or changes within our bodies instead of those outside factors. So myrrh is really going to address those spots and the blemishes that we get on our skin more from those outside elements, okay? Particularly those that are going to create singlet oxygen environments within our skin.
Yeah, okay. So that Cellubel lotion and serum that we made a couple of months ago in that training, would you recommend something like that to be able to help with pigmentation?
Oh, absolutely.
concerns?
Cellubel is a wonderful product for using on pigmentation and any kind of blemishes or those spots, age spots, sunspots that we get as we grow older.
Yeah, absolutely. Or even just myrrh and frankincense, and you can mix it with a carrier oil like a jojoba or a rose hip, or even just something basic like a fractionated coconut oil or an avocado oil, or even an olive oil, let's be honest, that you might find in your pantry. Any of these carrier oils are going to help to piggyback those essential oils to the areas that you might like to target or help to relieve.
Too, if you have those sunspots on your hands, a lot of people will get those spots on their hands. You could even drop just a little bit of peppermint over the top of the frankincense and myrrh, and that will actually help drive it in even faster, which is really one of the amazing properties of peppermint oil, since we're talking about oils. So
every single time I sit or I speak with Will, I am mind blown, and that you've just changed my world. That is incredible. So you could just do a single drop of, say, frankincense and myrrh on the back of your hand, and then add a drop of peppermint over the top.
Just put that in, kind of rub it together, then put a drop of peppermint right over the top, rub that in, and it actually helps drive those properties from frankincense and myrrh into your skin even faster.
That is incredible. And those are those areas, right, that are always exposed to the elements that we forget about looking after. And it's the first sign of aging. I remember my grandmother used to put her hand lotion on religiously because she thought everyone's going to know my age if she doesn't protect her hands. So I'm going to have to start that new routine as well. What are some other amazing benefits of myrrh?
Oh, you know, myrrh, like frankincense, also comes from that very adverse environment. So it has very unique chemical properties to it. And again, just like frankincense, it addresses inflammation, particularly within our skin, but it also addresses other inflammation as well within our body. So joints, for example, inflammation within our joints. It's a great way to support bone and joint health, essentially.
Amazing.
You know, so you can use myrrh to support joints. You can use myrrh to support skin. There's really a lot you can do with myrrh. You can add it to chocolate, apparently, which just is a wonderful way to actually be able to ingest it and help move it through your body.
And it's got
in
a
a
really
very tasty way.
Well, exactly. It's got a really interesting profile. So it's not your classic wild orange or peppermint that you'd normally have in the kitchen. It's adding a little bit more depth, bit of a richness to it. So it's probably a little bit more of an adult flavour I might put out there. Or you can just adjust the drops. If you really wanted to amplify the Frankie and maybe only have a couple of drops of myrrh in that, then the kids would probably be more, it'd probably suit their palate a little bit better.
Right.
But one of these recipes is a bit more of an adult flavour, and that's the fruitcake. And this is the easiest fruitcake to make. So when I was looking at how we were going to bring frankincense and myrrh to life in this Unearthed training, I thought, how am I going to create a Christmas pudding that's going to be simple, it's going to be tasty, it's going to be easy? And I learned very quickly it's not. It's a time-consuming process. It's a beautiful process. So a lot of people might have that beautiful routine a couple of months before for the holiday season that they're going to start to soak the mixed fruits and start that beautiful, slow process, which is lovely. But I have 2 children under the age of 4, so I don't have that time. So I needed something quick, something easy, but it's also going to taste delicious. So this is my fruitcake, and it's as easy as 3 ingredients and bake. You need to get 1 bag of mixed fruit, 1 kilogram of mixed fruit. Just get it from the supermarket, and it's got a whole bunch of yummy fruits in that, like your sultanas and your raisins. You're going to soak those fruits overnight in the fridge with 2 cups of orange juice. Easy as that. Now I went a bit luxe, and I went for the fancy orange juice this time.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent an extra couple of dollars, and I went for the fancy juice because I thought, I don't want no concentrate in this fruit cake. I want the good stuff. Now, you could go a step further if you wanted and actually juice some oranges if you wanted. I did add a couple of drops of wild orange into that mix, so it could really, I guess, harmonise and bring those flavours together as they marinated.
Oh, that would bring out a wonderful citrus aroma too to it. Wow. Okay, now I'm really excited to tuck in.
He's sold. Now the next day, so last night what I did was I added 2 cups of self-raising flour to that mix that came out of the fridge. Give it a good stir, make sure that flour has really combined with the wet ingredients, and then you're just going to pour it into a spring-loaded tin. I did a large spring load. I think that's around a 16-inch spring-loaded tin, but you could go for a Lamington sliced tin if you wanted. You might even want to go for a bundt tin if you wanted a different kind of shape. But just remember that it is a dense cake, so you want to make sure that it's cooked low and slow. Otherwise, it does have that opportunity to burn, which my mum warned me about, because this is the cake that we had when we were growing up, which is quite special. So you bake it low and slow. You bake it on around 140 degrees Celsius for around about 50 to 60 minutes, but keep an eye on it. Make sure that your fan-forced oven is working well. So keep an eye on it to see if it's starting to burn on the top. And of course, you just get your skewer right and check it through the centre if it's feeling a little bit moist still. You want to make sure that it's not wet, but it's cooked through. Now, this is my little hot tip. I wanted to pre-prepare this because I thought I'm going to make a whole load of mess if I try and do this on camera. But what I've done today is I have combined some icing sugar in a sieve with a couple of drops of frankincense, and I've just tapped it over. the cake.
Oh, very nice. So the frankincense is actually in the icing sugar then?
Sure is.
Oh,
It sure
nice.
is. Yeah, and the reason for that is when you are cooking with essential oils, it does tend to lose a little bit of its productivity
Yeah.
or its constituent value. So you can always add more drops to your cooking as well, especially if it's going into, say, an oven. You may find that it's going to lose a little bit of its efficacy. So I didn't want to lose any of the efficacy of the frankincense. I really wanted to allow it to sing. So it's now sitting on the top. Now you can go for your life with your decorations. You could put some glazed cherries on top. You might look to put some, decoration, holly, for example, or some eucalyptus leaves. I've left it simple for today. But look how dense and thick this is.
That is
Beautiful cake.
Wow, that's amazing actually.
So that's your piece after we've finished this training today. And lastly, we have got some carrot cake granola that I have made over the past couple of nights, and my family have been able to taste it, and we can personally say that this is the best granola that I've ever tasted.
And it looks amazing. I'm so excited to get into this.
Have a try.
Sorry, Jess, I'm going to have to reach in here with my hands and grab a little bit.
Go in. It is one of those recipes that once you do it, you realize, okay, it's ticking so many boxes here. It's easy to make, it's nutritious, it's festive, the kids are going to eat it, and you're going to leave with a smile on your face. It's so good. It's also a really lovely gift idea. And so I thought that what if you made this granola recipe and then you were able to share it by popping it in a jar and then tying a pretty bow around it and gifting it to, the school teachers or your neighbour down the road. And you can infuse it with these essential oils like frankincense and myrrh. So it's just got that little doTERRA touch. It's a little bit elevated, a little bit special, but you also know that you're giving someone something really heartfelt and homemade, which I think is quite special.
And that's such an amazing idea, because you're actually giving then the school teacher or a friend or a neighbor the benefit of the essential oil too. They are able then to take that essential oil in the granola and get the benefits from it themselves. Okay, feel the benefits, become more grounded, become more able to adapt to stress, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, isn't that a beautiful way to start your day?
Yeah, it really is, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful idea to give to neighbors.
I think it's quite nice. Now it's got some really fun flavours in here. We're talking cinnamon, we're talking nutmeg, and even some powdered ginger, which I thought was really, really fun. Now you can also, of course, substitute those powders if you wanted for our essential oils as well, if you wanted to, of course.
Of course you could. I like the essential oils, and I think they taste great. But let me just tell you, wow, 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 that is amazing. I just took that little bit here a minute ago.
Yes.
That is incredible. That
is
is
awesome.
so good.
Well, you can take it home as well. I've got an extra batch at home that I've been sharing with my kiddos the past couple of days, and it's really changed the way that they're behaving in the mornings. Now, I'm not going to add any kind of, magic to the mix. I've got young kids, right? And so that morning routine can be a little bit crazy. And we've really been working, especially with our 4-year-old, to calm her down. She gets a bit worried going to school each day, and her thought process becomes a little bit overwhelming. So I've put, I guess, the accountability back onto her, so she's feeling a little bit more in control. We've been leaving out some carrot cake granola in a little sealed container overnight, so when she wakes up in the morning, she's got her bowl, her spoon and her granola ready to go. She pours a little bit of milk onto it, and she's got her breakfast ready, and she's feeling a little bit calmer and grounded for the day. The other way that you can serve it is actually with some beautiful yogurt as well. Now, if you wanted to make your own homemade yogurt, which I like to do at home, do you do that?
I don't, but to get some really high quality yogurt or to make it at home allows you to get that probiotic on top of the benefits of those essential oils as well. So yeah, that makes for a wonderful breakfast. Great way to start the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And because it's been baked, you're going to find that you're getting those lovely clusters of the oats combining with the maple syrup.
And a little bit of crunchy in there that's just delightful.
It's really good. Now, I elevated a little bit further and I added some of that extra chocolate bark from my chocolate bark recipe. I crumbled a little bit of that through the granola as well, and so you're kind of getting these little sweet treats coming through. Now that's a little bit fancy. If you didn't want to add that, that's totally okay. But we're just grating some carrot. You've got rolled oats, you've got maple syrup, you've got your spices like your cinnamon and your ground nutmeg, and then you've got some raisins. You could add some cranberries to it as well, and then roughly chopped nuts. Now, nuts can be sometimes a little bit expensive, but I did the price comparison on making this as a DIY home recipe and the amount you get versus buying something from the supermarket shelf. When you're looking at granola on the supermarket shelf, it gets expensive. I'm talking $7.50 minimum to get a box of something made. And then you're also getting all those added preservatives and all of those added things that you might not necessarily want.
All the stuff you don't want, exactly.
Yeah, so this is really, really easy to make. You simply put it in a bowl all together, stir in the maple syrup, give it a really, really good stir. You can add your essential oils into that mix there, but remember, when you're baking something, again, that heat is going to possibly shift or edit the constituent value in those essential oils. So add a couple, maybe 2 to 3 drops within that mix, and then you're going to spread it out onto a lined tray again. Do it in a couple of batches if you've got those smaller trays, because you want to make sure that the heat is evenly dispersing through so you get that nice crunch that you liked before. Pop it in the oven for around about 20 odd minutes. Give it a bit of a stir through, and then again for around about 10 minutes. I think my oven was on about 180 degrees Celsius, but again, play with what your oven normally likes. And then once it's done, jar it up. You can either jar it for your friends and your family, or you can put it in a grand old Tupperware container ready for the kids for the morning. But the reason why I wanted to make this is because on Christmas morning, we love to, after we've celebrated the Santa visiting, and we've opened up some of our presents as our family do, we then get around the table and have a beautiful breakfast. But we tend to overeat at brekkie, and then we tend to overeat at lunch, and then by 3 o'clock, we're all asleep on the couch. So I wanted to make a breakfast recipe that's going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more nourishing for the gut, a little bit better for the mind, so you're not feeling too full before that beautiful lunchtime.
And that is actually a wonderful idea, a wonderful thing to be able to bring the family together at breakfast and have something that's not going to really slow you down the rest of the day, so that you can still enjoy that nice, beautiful Christmas lunch, you know, with family and friends and those around you. That's just a wonderful idea, Jess.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Now, to add it a little bit of, I guess, again, elevation to the recipe, why don't you pop a couple of drops of frankincense, 1 or 2, onto the granola when it's in your bowl or your fancy mason jar, however you want to present it, and then a couple of dollops of yogurt on top. And that would be a beautiful way to start your day.
It is a beautiful way to start your day. It really is. It gets the digestion going with the yogurt and the probiotics that are provided there. As I mentioned, the frankincense, you know, you'll get the benefits from it to help really face the busyness of the rest of the day too. It's just such a wonderful thing. And let me tell you, the yogurt, or not the yogurt, but the granola just tastes amazing. It's absolutely wonderful. I love carrot cake. That's one of my faves. And this right here is just, it's great. Thanks, Jess, for bringing that in, actually. I will be grabbing a fistful of it as we walk out.
And thank you, Will. Thank you for all of your knowledge, your inspiration, your wisdom. And I also want to personally say thank you so much for helping and supporting me through my education over the past 12 months. It's been around 11 months since we started this Unearthed journey together, and it's been really wonderful. And I hope you too have enjoyed us getting together to find that inspiration through essential oil usage, whether it's through product education or a couple of DIYs so that you can infuse those essential oils in your home.
Well, thank you very much, Jess. I appreciate it. I appreciate learning from you and all the beautiful ways that we can use essential oils as well. You know, I learn from every single one of these trainings. Every single one of these unearthed product trainings that we do, I learn something new from it. Me too. And so I want to go home and share that information. I want to go home and share all of these recipes with my wife, with my family, and with others. Because again, such great ideas, such great ways to use such beautiful essential oils.
Absolutely. Infuse it one drop at a time. I think that's the trick. Yeah. So thank you everyone for always being so beautiful in attendance, for always sharing your thoughts and your ideas for our Unearthed Training Education Series. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Please stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you in 2023.
See you in 2023.
Bye.